Hello friend, I'm Miss V and this is SingerTracks, and I'm going to show you really quick how to place an order just in case any of these fields raise questions for you. As you can see, I have already navigated to singertracks.net/order, so I am looking at the order form and I'm just going to start filling it out. Obviously, you're going to put in your contact information, right? Super fast. And then we're just going to go straight on to the order form. First question, how many parts? Well, we're going to count the piano as one part because it is one instrument. Now, I have a really great example piece right here. This is She Walks in Beauty by Z. Randall Stroop. It's just a beautiful piece and it's got some really great examples to help me fill out this order form. So I just thought I'd use it. How many parts? Well, according to Mr. Stroop, this is an SATBB, so soprano, alto, tenor, bass 1, and bass 2. So we've got 5 voice parts, and then we've got 1 piano accompaniment. So in total, we have 6 parts. How many pages? Now, I'm not going to include this title page. I'm not going to include this about page because they don't have any staves of music on it. What we want to know is how many pages are there that actually have printed music on it. So I'm actually going to count this as my first page, even though it says page 3 up here in the corner. I'm going to call it 1, and then I'm just going to manually count up how many pages of music staves I have. 13 total pages. Desired key. Our options are original key, C major, D, G major, and it goes through all of the potential common keys. We don't really have any theoretical keys up here. I'm just going to put original key, so you don't even actually have to know what key you're in if you want to keep it exactly as it is. Let's say maybe you want the opportunity to be able to shift this up or down by a half step or so. Maybe your vocal ensemble needs that kind of flexibility. That's fine. If you want an additional key, you're just going to click 1. Now, we do need to know what the original key is. It happens to be D flat major. So if I wanted to maybe raise this up by a half step, maybe my bass 2s are struggling a little bit with that low D flat. One of them's got a solid low D though, so I'm going to move it up from D flat major maybe to D major. Now you can see that's going to be an extra charge, $10 per key. Starting BPM. Now, if you don't want to make any changes, just leave it as written. If you do want to make changes, quarter note equals around 60 BPM. Maybe you want to move it a little bit more, or maybe you want it to go even slower. Maybe you want it at 55 BPM rather than 60. Any tempo changes? Well, up here in measure 55, and I'm going to flash that up on the screen for you, our composer says molto appassionato, and maybe to you that means that you want to speed it up a little bit. You want to inject a little bit of energy into it. So if I'm the conductor and I want it to speed up there, but there's no BPM indication right there in the score, I might get a little bit more specific. I would say measure 55, speed up to, I was going at 55, let's say 70 BPM. And then maybe I want to slow it down again in measure 58. Looks like I've got a decrescendo there. I want to slow it down a little bit, bring it off the heat. So I'm going to tempo at measure 58. Easy peasy. Any other changes you want to make to the tempo, it really is going to help me the most for you to give me a specific beat per minute. If you leave it open to interpretation, I will interpret it to the best of my abilities. Changes to written dynamics. It looks like in measure 26, 27, we've got a lot of movement in the high treble parts. It's getting a little bit up there for the sopranos, so we want to give them permission to really go for those notes, to really bring it out of the texture. So rather than mezzo forte, I want my ensemble to be singing it at their forte, right? So I would say measure 28, change mezzo forte to forte. Simple as that. Any other increases of contrast maybe that you want to make within the music itself. Maybe the composer chose mezzo piano. Maybe you want it to be a true piano for your ensemble. You're gonna make any changes to the written dynamics in this box. Here is where you are gonna tell me where you want those specific timestamps. So this particular song, it doesn't break down well into verse, chorus. So maybe you want to be just very regimented and you want every 10 measures. Maybe you want your ensemble to tackle this 10 measures at a time, and you want timestamps at measure 1, measure 10, measure 20, etc., etc. That's absolutely fine. Or maybe there are segments in which, just one party ensemble is doing a whole lot of singing. Maybe there's like a solo or something in there. Or maybe, like in this song, the guys take it for a little while, and then the girls, and then everybody sings together. So you may want to mark those specific places. So I'm going to put the timestamp exactly where you tell me to. So I'm going to suggest that you put the actual timestamp, the measure before you want the singer to come in. That's what I tend to do in the transcriptions that I do for myself. And that one measure gives the singer a chance to grow accustomed to the tempo, to find their pitch and all that good stuff. So you can see at the top of the piece, it's just tenors and basses, right? So I might want to timestamp at measure 3. That gives my guys a measure to get accustomed to that beat and to find their pitch. And then the ladies come in, they don't come in until measure 8. So I would do a timestamp at measure 7 to give the ladies a chance to skip over the guys' stuff. They don't have to listen to it 10,000 times as they're learning their part. And the guys drop out. So they're going to want to skip the girls' part while they're learning their bit. So maybe we put another one at measure 10 there. You can do as many timestamps as you want. Break it down in the way that makes sense for you, in the way that you're going to assign part study, right? Especially if there's like a big instrumental break. They're not going to want to listen to that 1,000 times to get to the next segment. So we put a timestamp in a measure before they come back in. Now we go into some of our additional options. Some of them are free, some of them are a little extra cost, and that's noted right here on the order form. Do you want metronome clicks in your rehearsal videos? Metronome clicks will never be in the performance video unless you specifically tell me to put them in the performance video. The performance video is always just going to be the accompaniment as it is on the page. So if you want metronome clicks in your rehearsal video, you're going to check there. Do you want me to send you the XML file once I'm done transcribing it so that you can do whatever you want in Sibelius, in Finale, in MuseScore, in Noteflight, whatever platform you use? I am happy to do that. Do you need chords included in your music? Now, She Walks in Beauty doesn't have chords written in, but maybe it's a solo piece, more like maybe this time classic jazz standard. And you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but we've got some chords written in here for those amazing jazz improvisationalists. And they're like, just tell me the chord and I'll riff. So jealous of those people. But if you need chords included, you just check that box. A visual highlight of each isolated voice part. So I'm going to flash an example of that up on the screen here. So maybe you've got some young singers, maybe you've got some folks who have switched from one part to another. Hello, too many sopranos. I need a few of you to transition over to alto, right? For a little bit of help, getting them accustomed to finding that line that isn't the top line, we can do a little visual highlight of their line in their specific rehearsal video. Do you want solfege included in the rehearsal video? I'm going to strongly recommend that in the PDF of the music that you send, you already have your solfege written in. If you don't, I will solfege for you, but you're going to have to specify which system you need, and you can do that here. So our options are movable do, major key, movable do, do-based minor, movable do, law-based minor, or fixed do equals C. And you'll be able to see that when you fill out your order form. Please don't make me do fixed do. I am a movable do proponent. I'm a big fan. It's how I learned. But if your ensemble does fixed do, I will happily include that. You're just going to have to double check my work, okay? And if your piece is in a foreign language, I am happy to make for you a diction track, which I'm going to link an example in the video description below. But please note, I am limiting it to English, French, German, Italian, Latin, and Spanish. Do you need greater isolation of parts than is in the sheet music itself? This is what this is talking about, this split shared staff parts to individual staff parts. In this particular song, our composer, Mr. Stroop, has already split bass 1 and bass 2 onto separate staves. So those are isolated parts. However, there's a pretty active soprano 2 part, but he's just left that on the soprano line. So we've got 2 parts, soprano 1 and soprano 2, sharing a staff. What that means is that I can't isolate those individual parts. You're on the soprano rehearsal track. That means that you're going to hear soprano 1 and soprano 2 at the same time. But maybe it's a particularly involved part. Maybe there's a lot of clashes. Maybe you've got some really young sopranos who are still getting used to singing harmony. What we can do is we can split those shared staff parts to individual staff parts. A lot of times it's soprano alto paired together and tenor bass paired together, and there's only 2 choral staffs. If you want those stretched to 4, then you would select these 2. If you've got a different situation like we do with She Walks in Beauty, then we're gonna write split soprano 1 and 2 parts to individual staves. And that will make it clear as mud, hopefully. If you need a rush on your project, you need it ASAP, then you can pay to jump the line. Yep. This is an add-in because I initially forgot to cover this bit, but here is the text box where you're going to give me any other information that we haven't already covered in the order form about your piece. Maybe you want to change some lyrics. Maybe you want to add some rehearsal markers that aren't in the sheet music itself. Anything that we haven't already discussed in the order form, you're gonna put it in here. Here is where you are going to upload your PDF, and a little pop-up will come up just like you attach documents to email, all that kind of stuff. You're gonna find your PDF. I don't actually have She Walks in Beauty scanned yet, so I'm just gonna find a piece, upload it, and here you can see, here's your little confirmation that it has successfully uploaded. Then you're gonna click I'm not a robot. Ooh, we have to select all the bicycles. Well, that's not a bicycle, that's a scooter. Oh well. All right, I have been verified as human, and then you're gonna click submit request. It may take a second to load, but you will get confirmation that looks like this. Thank you for your request. You should receive an itemized invoice within 1 business day. So all of that was free. You didn't have to spend a penny to submit an order. Now, the order won't be completed until you pay in full and respond to that invoice that I'm gonna send you. And if you have further questions that I didn't answer in this video, please contact me. I wanna make it as easy as possible for you. So if you come across a hurdle that you can't figure out, go up to that contact, click on it, contact us real quick, and hopefully I'll be able to answer your question post haste. So until next time, keep singing.